Summer is here and the sun is blazing, so let's get you some shade in your backyard or front yard or wherever. And keep in mind that the roof is sloped. Model number 2306189. Bought this from Home Depot. Now it recommends 3 people assemble it at 10 hours each, so that's 30 hours, but it ended up taking me 40 hours. Now you absolutely have to download this app because it helps tremendously, but even with the digital instructions as well as paper instructions, you will still need to verify and double check and triple check everything is facing the right way or oriented the correct direction. It'll tell you what's correct, what's incorrect, so there's still a ton of troubleshooting and fine-tuning.
This procedure will assist you with assembling the backyard Discovery 20 by 12 Kingsport Carport.
I have never seen a gazebo come with a power strip. How awesome is this? You got power USB charge ports. Apparently you can hook up lights to this thing. All right, out of the 7 boxes, the instructions and hardware are in box number 2. Now, how many screws and bolts do you think are necessary? We've got bags and bags, bolts and screws. Tons, there's hundreds and hundreds of pieces. Stay tuned. All right, guys, don't panic. Don't panic. You can do this. Nobody tells you this, but in box number 4 of 7, that's where the post foots are. I thought they were steel, but it looks like a hard plastic. Anyway, the post foot is in box 4 of 7. Now this is step number 14. This piece right here, it looks like it's on the bottom, but actually, once you fasten all the screws together, it goes towards the top. The top here. Now for the instructions on page 27, which is step number 24 in the app. Of course, you'll experience this the last couple of times as well because you have to build several of these on the ends. This needs to be sandwiched in the middle. Okay, I almost put it on backwards. Same thing on this side. When you're building this rafter, that needs to be in the middle. If you flip it around the other side, that becomes fragile. So again, that's 3 pieces all for one long rafter. That has to be sandwiched on the inside. Look how long this bolt is. Make sure everything is square. Just gonna put it in loosely. Just like that. Don't tighten it down too much because you have to make some adjustments. Now you will find yourself spending quite a bit of time troubleshooting, verifying everything is facing the correct direction. So labeling helps, and there is quite a bit of labeling for staging before erecting. And I only needed help lifting the heavy pieces. Most of the building you'll do on the floor. Page 46. And we have the J06. But you see all these T-nuts right there? All 6 of those get buried, and I don't know why. I made sure everything is oriented the correct way. Here on page 47, I have everything oriented here. You've got your J05 and G3 on one end, and on the other end, G03 with J07. Bolt holes are lining up. Bolt holes lining up. Now here, those two are lining up. These two, see those line up there, but I don't know why those two would be completely buried. See how there's T-nuts there, but they're not matching. If I bolt this all together, I'd have to drill a hole there, and I don't know why. And the same thing over here. There's T-nuts there, but there's no holes in the fascia. And I don't know why. Now we're getting ready to assemble the last two sets of legs. But before we put the truss on, the instructions don't say this, but you don't want to be fighting these T-nuts in the air. It is best to hammer them in on the ground, concrete, solid surface. So you got 4 on both of these sides and the same for over there. Do not hammer them in on the side with the 5th pilot hole, because that's for a lag bolt. So again, put the T-nuts in on the ground so you're not fighting them in the air. In order to avoid stripping out the hardware, just get all of your bolt holes lined up. This is a different size. Get everything right where you want it. Before you crank it down, make sure this is as square as possible. Then you can tighten it with your drill, but still not too much until the very final screw. Keep in mind, because the roof is sloped, this is not going to be square. But looking at it from the length direction, it will be square. But just keep that in mind. Because the roof is sloped, this side will not be square. All right, the last 2 legs are up. Total of 6 vertical posts. I do recommend you use 3 people for this part, because 1 person to hold the post, 1 person to hold one side of the rafter, and 1 person, myself, hold the other part of the rafter. When you splice it in, you want to loosen one set of hardware to allow the other piece to splice together. Then you level these up. Once you got all your pieces in, make sure everything is square, tighten it up. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 diagonal braces. I don't even think this thing needs concrete anchors, but of course I'm going to follow the manufacturer recommendations. Now you've got these 2 beam assemblies attached to your joist hangers. And again, just hand tighten until everything is in place, and then you tighten at the end with power tools. 4 beam assemblies attached to your 4 joist hangers. Also note the difference between the rafter hangers, they're small, and the joist hangers are large.
Align and attach the brace beam assemblies to the joist hangers using 8 bolts, 415, 8 flat washers, 630, and 8 lock nuts, 479. Only hand tighten the hardware.
All right, we finally got all 40 of the rafter hangers bolted on. There's 40 of these guys. Now it's time to put the rafters on. All right, we got all the rafters in. Now I can put the metal roof on? No, I still have to put purlins. Purlins are all the cross sections in those notches. Still not done. It's getting there. Okay, we've got 8 of these cleats installed everywhere, and it just gives extra support for the diagonals. Now it's time for the purlins that go the cross section in this open area all the way across. Don't worry, you'll be climbing the ladder hundreds of times. On page 75, step 93, you'll be screwing the purlins into these cleats that you just did using a 1/8 inch drill bit and your Phillips. So you'll drill pilot holes in here, but all these other ones already have pilot holes. And this is the HO1, the HO2 will connect that, and you'll repeat the process all the way down. Sometimes these boards will have a spring in them because they're not perfectly straight. Don't worry, there's plenty of screws you can put in there, and you can put on a clamp like this. Looks like a pergola, doesn't it? Finally done with the purlins after 5,000 screws. Just kidding, but it feels like that. Now let's put that metal roof on. I thought the roof was going to be the easiest part of all, but just like other prefab kits, you have to peel this film off of every single metal panel. So that's going to take some time to get it all off. I understand the reason for the film, but it's still such a pain. It does not come off easy. You have to... Foam would be just as well, but I understand it's for the scratches. Anyway, this is time consuming. So I got the panel up here, even with just a 1/4 inch overhang like it says, and I'll make that level in a minute. There's still holes, these random holes. So I thought, okay, they put the arrow on the wrong side. I flipped this other piece around, and there's still holes. So now I gotta figure out why they put extra holes in here. Okay, we got the drip edge on, and now it's time to do the waterproof tape in between sheet panels. For this splice right here, I do recommend attaching it before shoving it under the sheeting, because there's a lip that you won't be able to see under the sheeting. But anyway, you can attach 1 screw on each corner and then work in the middle. Now it's time to continue on. Towards the rear, these are the 910 panels. Those are the 911 panels. It's critical the waterproof tape goes 1 inch. There's 2 rolls of this. Just do a few inches at a time. Keep in mind it's sticky on both sides. Use gloves for the sharp edges. Congrats, you made it this far. After 500 screws, you're finally done with the roof. This thing is now complete, right? Nope. You still need to anchor it to the concrete. Still got to do concrete anchors. There's flashing all the way around, all 4 sides. They keep saying you need gloves for these sharp edges, but you have to keep taking your gloves off to deal with all these splices, and then work it back under the metal roofing and then screw it back down. So there's lots of troubleshooting. And the blue film is extremely difficult to remove. Every one of these flashing pieces takes several minutes to remove all the blue film. I'm hoping it comes off easier when it's warmed up in the sun. Let me know in the comments what you guys experience. Been working on this one piece for 10 minutes. It's just all this plastic stuff is not necessary. Huge waste of time. So I had to go buy another T30 bit. I lost it during the process of this build, and I had to buy another one. So remember, T30 for your impact, and then a 3/16 bit for your hammer drill, for the concrete anchors. Don't forget your washer, concrete anchors, just like that. And the same on the other side, it's 2 per bracket. You don't need to worry about this middle one. So I got 3/16 inch hole drilled there. They only give you 1 size washer, but really you need a tighter washer around the concrete anchor, and then this is a little bit too loose by itself, so it holds on better with the lock washer, which was not supplied. All right, I decided to put the tag up here so you can easily see it. Comes with an optional power port, not for charging a car, but you've got USB and other outlets, a little foldable shelf. You can put lights up here. It is finally done, guys. After a long week, this carport 20 by 12 is finally done. Nice.
Money's no object. What are you, crazy? I'm not paying that much.
And there's no money in here!
Instructions can be a little bit confusing with the arrow on the front on one panel and the arrow for the rear on a different panel.
Okay, let's go.